my goodness. They're going to take all the Hershey's chocolate.
Justice League Unlimited was reminiscent of Super Friends.
Oh, it's similar to what I'll say. Justice League Unlimited is a fast-paced and new look at the Super Friends.
Justice Unlimited was cute and fun and very fast.
Getting hints already. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Falling Towers Watch the First podcast, the podcast in which we watch the first episode of a series so that you don't have to. As you might have guessed, today we are doing Justice League Unlimited on HBO Max. The first episode is entitled Initiation. This is Cartoon Reboots Month. It's all a bunch of 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s cartoons being rebooted. Our very special guest today is actress Kelly Park.
Hi.
Looking like Supergirl, kind of. Look at that. Dr. Mohamed Noor is also here wearing a Tuvok Rocks shirt.
Yay, Tuvok. Always a pleasure to be on Falling Towers. Watch the first of things.
And my name is Ryan T. Husk. I'm wearing a Skeletor shirt, and I have a background that Mohamed tells me might be Justice League, not Justice League Unlimited.
Not sure. Could be. Not sure.
Yeah, you might be right, because look at this guy right here. I don't remember seeing that guy.
Spot
anyway,
Girl.
Whatever it is. All right, everybody. So if you'd like us to review a show, in the comments below, type WTF and that show, like WTF Super Friends, or WTF Friends, or WTF, what's another Friends one? I don't know.
Friend Zone.
Is that one? WTF Friend Zone.
Oh, wait, maybe we should tell people what next month's theme is, since this is the last week of Rebooted Cartoon Month.
Exactly. Thank you, Dr. Noor. Next month, specifically, because this month was rebooted cartoons. Next month, April, is new. Anything new. It's like a mixed bag. It doesn't have to be cartoons or comedy or sci-fi. It's just new things that have just been released, either this year or maybe in the last few months of 2022. Yes. Kelly's thinking of one already.
Last of Us, for example.
Woo! Sorry. Let me just saying.
WTF Last of Us. All right. Well, let's get started. Everybody, please give this video a like. Please make sure you are subscribed if you're listening in. Give it a 5-star rating, maybe review, even if it's ahead of time. Just type in, say, this sounds great so far. Haven't watched it or listened yet, but
I love the show. I want to hear more about Justice League Unlimited.
Exactly. Mohamed, can you get us started? Where the heck are we going with this?
So now is the great time where we put ourselves into a predicament, where we have to guess what each of us thought of this show before watching it. No, actually, no, sorry, after watching it, not before watching.
This is actually my favorite part of the entire show. We kind of like to blow our wad first. So watch the first. Mohamed and I have known each other for quite some time. We know each other fairly well the last few years, very close. I mean, maybe once or twice or thrice in person, but 100 times through a little thing we call Zoom. Kelly and I have known each other, good grief, since like the Carter administration, it feels like. Feels like we've known each other maybe...
I want to say 2014 or 2013.
Then let's say it. 2013 or 20. So 9 or 10 years already, if you can believe that, everybody. Yeah, 2013 probably. So I know her well enough. I could predict her perfectly. My prediction for Mohamed, though, I predict that Mohamed is very high on this because he likes, the older cartoons like the Star Blazers and the, other 70s and 80s cartoons, Spider-Man. And so I think he's going to be pretty high on something that is based on the old Super Friends cartoons, except without the bell bottoms so far. So I think he's going to be very high on this. Kelly Park, I predict, is going to be, first of all, very high on Supergirl because of her background. But I think she's going to be pretty high on this show overall because she's excited about it. But those are my predictions. What do you think, Mohamed?
So I predict, Ryan, you're actually going to be fairly positive about this because it's kind of an origin story, which I know you like those. And I know you like superheroes in general, since we often have superhero month on the show and things like that. So I think you're going to like that. I think you're going to like that it was a pretty good pacing. It wasn't breakneck, but it was definitely moving along the whole time.
Superhero month, everybody, is August. So stay tuned for that. August is going to be superhero month. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, no problem. Which I figure, like, this is your show. So if you didn't like superheroes, you wouldn't have a superhero month. Kelly, I think you're also going to be pretty positive. I mean, you also used the word fun in your introduction, which is a strong hint there that you were pretty positive on. So I think both of y'all are going to come out pretty high up on this one.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that Brian, for sure. I mean, yes, it's a little bit of, I mean, I will, give it the territory of giving it a little bit away that, yes, you probably were on board. I'm curious to know, how on board you were if nostalgia meets like, you're still super into it, because this is a 2003, 2004-ish, right? This is a hot minute ago. So I think you like it. I'm just curious to know how much. And then Mohammed, for sure, I'm pretty sure you like it. And you like those, context clues of all the times that we've met now. I feel like of all the, things that you have in the past, like when it's kind of in this genre, I think you're down. I'm also curious to know how down is down. Like we're 10 or like 7, like, here you go, 2004. Please, like, is it? So I don't know. But yeses. Yeses for.
This is 2004. I didn't even check that.
It was 2004.
It's 19 years old. Wow, this show is old enough to vote and smoke cigarettes and buy reefer probably. So, and die for this country. Is that it?
They have.
And be tried as an adult. All right. So here we go, everybody. That was fun. Make your predictions now. Do you think I liked this show? Do you think Kelly liked this show? Do you think Dr. Mohammed Noor liked this show? Also, how much or how little? Let us know in the live chat or in the comments below. No stress, no rush. Take your time. Dr. Noor here of Duke University, by the way, will let us all know. And by the way, an occasional Star Trek science advisor. He's going to let us all know what this show is even about.
Happy to do so. In this reboot of the Justice League and Super Friends, etc., Green Lantern takes Green Arrow, rather abruptly, to the orbiting watchtower, where Superman is giving a recruitment pitch to a bunch of new potential heroes. Green Arrow, however, seems uninterested, but he still tags along on a mission with Green Lantern, Captain Atom, and young, somewhat immature Supergirl to stop some sort of nuclear energy leak in a xenophobic country. The heroes discover the leak is actually a giant radioactive robot gone wild. After Green Lantern is hurt and Captain Atom blows up, Green Arrow and Supergirl are able to stop the robot. Green Arrow remains hesitant about joining Justice League, but then sees Black Canary and reconsiders.
So that was Black Canary. I was going to ask you about that. Okay, now I don't have to. Now comes my second favorite part. Actually, I really enjoyed when Mohammed tells us what the show's even about. But I love when we do what, Mohammed?
Expectation. This is where we talk a little bit about what you expect. We spend a little bit of time on that. Then a lot of time on what you get.
Wow.
I love this part.
Yeah, so we're going to compare and contrast what we expected versus what we got. So, Mohammed, before you watched this first episode of Justice Unlimited entitled Initiation, what did you expect, if anything?
So when my son was younger, we watched just about all the Justice League and Justice League related stories. So I'd seen Justice League, I'd seen Justice League Unlimited, I'd seen Young Justice. I think we even watched a few of the 80s Super Friends, though that didn't quite grab him as much. It was a little out of date. So I had a pretty good idea what this was. I remembered from this series in particular was heavier than I anticipated it would be from, just ahead of time before I'd seen it before. It was heavier than I thought it would be on Green Arrow. I remember that. I remember thinking that was unusual. In terms of what the specific plot was for this first episode, I didn't actually remember at all. So I just remembered it was heavy on Green Arrow, and I remember there was a whole bunch of superheroes, and that's why it's Justice League Unlimited as opposed to the one that I think is behind Ryan. I think it's just Justice League.
Well, Kelly, what did you expect before you watched this first episode, if any?
All right, here we go. What I expected was to absolutely hate it.
Wow.
So when you asked me to do, if I was interested in doing it, I looked it up and I was like, I don't like this stuff at all. Like, I just don't. But I was like, you know what? Let's do something, it's on my, not bucket. I don't know if it's not New Year's resolution because all those are far canned after 2 weeks, but I would say that just lately I've been kind of doing this whole, like, let's do one thing that you wouldn't normally do, but let's do it anyway. So anyways, I was like, I was like laying in bed because I'm 2 hours ahead of you. And you text me and I was like, I'm going to bed, but yeah. So I was going to hate it. But what I actually found.
No.
Oh, yeah. Woo. Good catch.
I forgot what I'm supposed to say.
Yeah, no, you just stop at what you're expecting.
Oh, yeah. That's what I expected.
Yep.
That was a good catch, Mohammed. I was like fully in for the ride. I was just listening to Kelly. I was like, oh, this is a great, I'm loving this. She was in bed. She said yes. All these things were happening. I was not even focused on the hosting duties.
It's all good. No, I love your open-mindedness to this idea. You're like, you know what? It's not my thing, but I'm just going to dive in because you never know. I love that. I love that open-mindedness. That's wonderful. Kudos.
Well,
you're a Supergirl.
Well, contrasting to that, this guy has a very closed mind. And I'm going to tell you all what I expected before I watched this show. I don't like DC.
That's true, like completely?
I mean, in comparison to Marvel, I'm definitely a Marvel guy. I always thought that Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman were super boring and I didn't care. The Flash
background on this show.
And I never even knew anything about Green Lantern. The Flash was cool. Aquaman I thought was kind of weak. Anyway, but when I was a kid, I watched Super Friends, and I just like that because it's superheroes. I just like superhero stuff. I do like superheroes in general. So I expected actually to like this a little bit because I felt like it would remind me of like old Saturday morning Super Friends cartoons and like the good old days of watching all these superheroes and getting a little bit more in depth into them because I couldn't imagine that it would be as plain and boring as, the original Super Friends. But when you're a kid, you don't care. You just want to see superheroes. So that's what I expected. However, what did we actually get? Mohammed, what'd you get?
Okay, here comes the bad news. No, I'm just kidding. There were elements that I liked a lot. And there were a couple elements I didn't like, but overall, I'd say you guys call. I enjoyed this a great deal. I was very happy at the end. Like this was a fun ride. Some of the things, just sort of general things. I'll leave out the specifics for right now. Some of the general things I liked. I did like the setup. I didn't remember this was the one that basically like really kind of introduced how Green Arrow was part of this team. I didn't remember that. I mean, like I said before, I remember the Green Arrow was overrepresented, but I didn't remember this was kind of his introduction to the rest of the team in a big way. I like the good specific plot with this, robot gone wild, this xenophobic country, and them trying to figure things out with that. I like the overarching theme that this was part of like a recruitment thing, that this is part of like, this is how we bring people into, the Super Friends or Justice League or whatever. I found the pace pretty good, in the sense that it didn't feel breakneck to me, but at the same time, there was never a point where I got bored. I was like, oh, okay, what's happening? Oh, okay, now this. Oh, okay, now this. That was good. It was easy to follow. It was a simple plot. It wasn't something where I had to sit there and just think, wait, what was this again? There were a couple of times where I was trying to figure out who specific heroes were, but that, that's background. I figured you'll get that later on. The characters I found a little bit mixed on their likability. I mean, I kind of liked this grumpy version of Green Lantern, so that was kind of funny. I hope this doesn't upset you, Kelly. I got very upset about Supergirl, and the reason I got upset about Supergirl was she's, as far as I can tell, I think she was the only female character that actually said anything in the entire show, and they still portrayed her as some sort of like bimbo and stuff like what? Like, come on. She's not stupid. Like what? Like the whole is that near Daytona Beach? Like, oh, come on. Like make her a little bit more substantive than that. I did like that there seemed to be like a growth trajectory. I don't actually remember the specific arc with her. I'm assuming there'll be a continued arc with her over the next couple episodes. But I didn't like that they started that off, especially like I said, she's the only female character that has speaking role aside from just people you saw walking by. So that I found that a little upsetting. But overall, I mean, I was very positive on the show. So I have specifics, but I'll save those for later on. I'll let you guys talk for a bit.
Well, Kelly, what did you actually get, if anything?
I have many words.
I think so.
See, not the seams. I just have so many words. So, Mohammed, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to tell the audience right now, the reason why she's behind me is not because I like her, but because I just wanted to make this very apparent. Like, what has happened? Okay, so there's a thing about this, is that in 2004, 2000, whatever, when this came out, like it was before the entertainment industry is moving in a different direction, and I think a more positive direction, and a more like, that's for another podcast. But the point is like, I guess I just disagree with her character in all areas. Like I just went, but so what I got, Ryan, is I got a lot more enjoyable of an episode of something that I was just for certain was not going to like. I was like, nope. And here's the thing, as a, 30 something woman, it's still not something that I can like. I can't wait to go to my fiance and be like, hey, Casey, we're going to watch this. Blah, blah, blah. I can't wait. It's not necessarily like that. But at the same time, if somebody wanted to sit down and watch it for a day, like, another time. Anyways, we'll keep going. So what I also got was, I really liked the pace of it. The pace of it was really good. I liked that like early 2000s kind of whenever they're like, we're ready to go. Yes. Pew, 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 pew. Da-da-da. So I really liked that. And then I liked, but even though she looked like this, I will say, like, was it Green Lantern, who the guy at the very end of the episode's like, I'm in a towel. And I was like, oh, God. So, I mean, my brain was, kind of all over the place, so I'm just like, it's the genre, it's the circa day or whatever. And what I got was pleasantly surprised at the end.
I'm kind of, tell you what I got. I'm kind of in the same school as Kelly. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I expected. Not a lot more than I expected, but certainly more than I had anticipated. I saved the viewing for this for a Saturday morning, just to really give it the chance to wow me, so that way I'd be in the right frame of mind. If it was on a Monday night, I'd be like, you better be good, asshole. But this time I was like, all right, let's have some Saturday morning fun together, you guys. And overall it was fun.
They delivered the fun. Yeah.
It was, I'll tell you why though, really, generally speaking, it's a great concept to have all of the DC superheroes together. It felt like when I realized that's what the concept was, I was like, finally. Great. Absolutely. This is exactly what we want. We want all of the superheroes and all of the bad guys in one show. I want all of it. Why do we always have to get stuck with one or a duo? Or even the big group is like 6 people and a monkey, or a dog.
Oh, that's the old one there.
Yeah. Like, give us all of them. That way we could just watch one show and get introduced to everybody. So that was fantastic. And I also thought that they were able to give us an origin story at the same time as they were able to demonstrate what each episode going forward was going to be. like the formula that we're going to use. So they melded the two together that's the perfect combination for a pilot episode. And I think they did it successfully. So let's talk about it. Yeah. And by the way, Kelly, I don't think it's going to get any better. There are going to be women in crop tops. There's going to be women in this. There's a dude walking around in a towel. What's his name? Green ring guy, Green Lantern, got blown up for a second. I thought he was fully naked. When he got blown up, I was like, did he just get completely naked? But then it showed him later, and they luckily spared his bathing suit area when the rest of his clothes were blown off.
I saw that. I was like, they blew up his clothes.
Right? Didn't it look like when he first flew back, it looked like he was totally naked with his zone kind of blurred out. But then afterwards, suddenly he had more clothing just right, strategically placed.
Oh, bless the guy, the big bad guy's, heart, he at least saved, because I was like, this isn't going to be good for him when he wakes up and he's like, where's most, but they saved it. Every arch was better.
I do remember in a future episode, so this is the Green Lantern, that's John Stewart. I do remember in a future episode, somebody mentions his name. They're like, the comedian?
That's what I thought.
Green Lantern. Yeah, no, that's what I remember thinking the first time I watched it. I was like, wait, what?
Wait, what's the name?
John Stewart.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this, because this is something I want to make sure not to miss. Who was your favorite character? Because Muhammad gets upset if we don't ask this question, so we want to keep him happy. It's kind of like feeding him a Snickers bar. He gets happy after.
Or those funny chocolates. Did you catch the chocolate names of this episode at the beginning?
Mm-mm.
No, yeah. When they were in the very beginning, when Green Arrow was going to rescue the people in that store, they had all these chocolates, and it looked like it said Hershey's, but if you zoomed in, look really carefully, it was spelled HEPZHY''S. So it was like, so visually it looks like Hershey's, but if you look carefully, it's not. Good Bar was Gned Bar, GNEDBAR.
Gned Bar.
I thought when you said Snickers, like, oh, no, that would have been.
It's like Hershey's and Dothraki.
Yeah, right? Sorry to interrupt that. So what's your Snickers on this one, Kelly?
Well, my Snickers, I would say, okay, so I will preface with this. I'm secretly looking at IMDb right now, because I'm going to tell you guys another, confession is that I don't know anything about any of Justice League, DC. Mm-hmm. I know a little bit about Marvel by default, because they're blockbuster videos or whatever. But overall, I'm trying to scam to be there's this one guy, who's the guy who is at the very end? He was because, Supergirl's I was awesome, wasn't I? And he was like, no, you actually sucked and you were a really bad teammate. And she was like,
I think that was Green Lantern, wasn't it? Or was it Martian Manhunter? It's one of those.
I think it was Green Lantern.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
So Green Lantern's my favorite because, and I knew that was, in the writing that kind of makes sense. But I know, he was like, you suck, and she was like, really? And he's like, nah, but you still are kind of good. And I was like, oh, I like that, in-depth character, the teaching character, because we're going to get a lot of incessant, I'm awesome. But he's going to keep her grounded. And I'm like, you know what? And it's not just, I'm not just trying to hate on my girl right here, but I don't know. I just feel like he's going to, it looks like he's going to be the mold to the series, that will keep people at bay. And again, I may be completely wrong because I know nothing about this universe. But yeah, I think he was my favorite because, like I said, it was one of those, okay, it's not really my cup of tea, but at the very end I went.
His quote I wrote down here: "You're headstrong, unprofessional, and reckless." But then later, and you did good. I was
Slay King. You tell that little girl but not little. She's clearly of age. When I Googled her for a background, I was like Supergirl, and I wanted to put background. They're like, or Supergirl, Justice League Unlimited, and it said, "What is her age?" And I was like, Google. I'm just going to go ahead. And
Google, are you okay?
Yeah.
I was I'm just going to go ahead and get a background. So, so I have a background, but the answer is I definitely I think he would be my man to my character that I'm rooting for and looking to see where his character grows. So he's my
Mohammed,
favorite.
who was Martian Manhunter you mentioned? Who's that?
He's next to Green Lantern in your picture, not Wonder Woman, but the one on the other side.
Who was he on the show?
His name is Jean, but it's pronounced
okay.
Like that,
so he
Jean.
was the Jean. Okay, I remember there was a guy named Jeans or something like that.
Yeah, that's him. So do you remember the Battlestar Galactica episode called Hero, where Adama had let some guy get captured by the Cylons, and then he'd come back a long time, and then he was then going to kill Adama?
No.
Oh, okay. Anyway, that's him. Actually, that's that voice actor.
Okay, cool. Although I did notice that Phil Lamar, our good buddy, was I think Green Lantern in this, so that's really cool. He is just freaking everywhere. That's awesome. Happy for him. Anyway, Mohammed, who was your favorite character?
I've always been a Green Lantern fan from the beginning, and I like the various versions of it, like Hal Jordan, or in this case, John Stewart, stuff like that. So I've always been a Green Lantern fan. So I'm all in with him. I've always thought that Jean is interesting because it's such a weird character. But yeah, when there's a choice, my answer is always Green Lantern. Like some people always say, like what was it last week? I think it was Darnell said, like, when you can be Batman, always be Batman. I'm like that with Green Lantern.
I'm like that with neither of them. But that's because I don't care about Batman, and which I know a lot of people are going to be like, who is this guy? But it's true. I'm sorry. And Green Lantern, I've never really known. I knew that there were many Green Lanterns. I knew that a friend of mine told me, because his favorite character was Green Lantern of all the DC universe, and he told me that there were like 6 different ones, or they were unlimited, but like at one time 6 came together. Anyway, so I was interested to finally know about this Green Lantern guy. I also don't know anything about Green Arrow guy, although I think we did a review of Arrow, which has got to be the same guy, although he looks and acts completely different. So it's really like a totally different character. So my favorite, it's tough. I really didn't have one. I didn't really like any of the characters particularly, or dislike them. They were just all like fine. I guess maybe I'll go with Phil Lamar's character just because we know him and like him, and I didn't recognize any of the other names. Although the other Green Team guy, Green Arrow, may be interesting just because those two are kind of new to me. So I kind of had a little
Adam, you like him?
He was a little confusing. I didn't understand. I felt like I needed to know what his story was to know what's going on.
He's always been weird.
Like the 2 green guys, you don't even need to know their stories to understand what their powers are. Captain Atom, I was like, is this like Black Adam? Is this like a...
I don't think so.
Because I know Black Adam too.
Yeah,
no, he's remember he by The Rock.
He made some comment like, I'm now all energy or something like that. And then he got like deflated at the end and they had to like re-inflate him.
Like he's like a vacuum bag. What is this going on? But I was like, okay, that's cool. So he's just energy in a sack, in a body-shaped sack. I don't know. But I'm glad that it wasn't heavy on Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman or Aquaman at all. Because that's cool. I want to learn about the new characters. Because I never was interested enough to actually learn about the new characters. So now I'm like, great, this is good to know about all these new guys that I never
By the way,
learned.
Real quick, was not a fan of Superman. The guy who was like, just so you know, and welcome to Initiation. I was like I know it's 2004, but your attitude.
Can't be cowboys anymore.
Yeah, or cowgirls.
Oh, and they all chuckled. I was like, they're like, oh.
They all chuckled like they did in like an 8 to 5 meeting, and I was like, oh my.
Waiting for her. I saw Stargirl in there. Like she didn't say anything, but I was waiting for her to like shoot
Stargirl.
She was in there. There's a whole show about her right now too, or there at least was recently.
And there was also like a really tall robot guy with like somebody sitting on his shoulder.
Oh yeah,
it was just really cool.
Darby on there.
Yeah, as soon as the guy Green Arrow guy turns around and we see like 30 or 40 others, that's when I was like, you mean we're gonna get to see all of the superheroes, not just 6 and a
You're in the
monkey.
candy store. You know who
The
else
fun
is?
committee has arrived.
I was so excited about that. I was like, this is great.
You know who else is in the show who you know personally is Jeffrey Combs.
Oh, that is very
He's
cool.
in the show as The Question. It's his superhero name.
I bet I know who his enemy was.
The Answer?
That's right. Allen Iverson, everybody. Everybody knows Allen Iverson. He's a basketball player, but he was known as The Answer. It's very funny.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
I had a couple of
Philadelphia
specific things for
76ers.
various points on the show. I don't know if you want to go into those.
Yeah.
So at the very beginning, like the holdup of that little convenience store, those were like 5 guys with these giant automatic weapons. I was thinking, like, this seems like massive overkill for taking over like a 7-Eleven.
Yeah. Or like when they arrived on that in that country that I don't think was specified, first thing they do is some guy just jumps out of a tent with a bazooka. I was like, whoa, where did they get a bazooka to start the battle? This is crazy. It's like G.I. Joe.
There's not a lot of overkill.
They were like, give me your $300. And I was like, oh my goodness. They're going to take all the Hershey's chocolate. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do.
The Hershey's.
Yeah.
And Gned Bar.
My Dothraki chocolates. They're going to take all of them. And I was like, one rifle at a time. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was nice they didn't specify the country because it was clearly some like East Asian country, like, oh, please don't make it China or something like that. But like, luckily they just
Yeah, I was thinking it might be like North Korea just because of the way that they were acting like super secretive or something like that.
Yeah, they could be.
But then they didn't say.
And again, don't mean to blame the timeline, but like 2004 probably could get away with it. So
yeah, maybe it was Myanmar.
Don't know. I did also. I like Batman in general, and I liked the conversations that Batman was having with Arrow, because Arrow kept on saying stuff about like, oh, I just helped the little guy, and Batman's comment back of like, well, sometimes the big villain comes and steps on the little guy. It's like, oh, it's actually a pretty good response. Yeah, So,
yeah,
Batman's
I thought that was kind of a overplayed conflict of like, I can't help the big guys because I helped the little guy. That was. But if this is a show for, theoretically aimed at kids, you need things to be like super rigid like that. So,
yeah,
I could roll my eyes, but still understand that that's still fine. That's still good writing for what it is. Because there are a lot of things that I could have rolled my eyes at, but I had to remind myself, hey, it's a cartoon.
Exactly.
So I got to go easy on it.
Yeah.
When Green Arrow, at the end, he shoots the arrow to defeat the bad guy with a bullseye. And then he was super out of breath. And I'm like, bro, shooting arrows makes you out of breath. Then how are you going to get through this? That's what you do.
That's your trade.
Yeah, that's your thing. Why is it so hard for you?
I thought you were going to say his comment as he shot that last arrow was like, say, dirtbag.
Do you remember Lieutenant Hicks, the lady that would say, don't move, dirtbag, on Police Academy movies?
I remember vaguely.
Shout out to her. She was awesome.
Yeah.
As was Hightower and Jones. Jones was the guy that did all the voices. I wish I remembered the actor's name. Anyway, shout out to Police Academy, especially Police Academy 3.
That's the best
one. And Superman 4, was that the one with Neil before Zod? Shout out to that.
No, that was
movie.
2.
2. Superman 2. You're right.
Yeah, I grimaced when you said Superman 4. I'm like, ooh. Skip 3 and 4. Right. Those didn't happen.
I think that was the only things that. Oh no, there was also something that made me laugh when we saw all of the DC people, and there was a guy that looked just like Batman, but he had little like fluffy white cheeks. I was like, is that like Catman or Bunny Man?
The bat's gone.
Or Rabbit Man? Like he looked exactly like. And so people in the live chat and in the comments below, tell me who that guy was. He looked exactly like Batman, but he had little fluffy cheeks, like right here. But everything else was Batman. Just like him. I was like, what's going on here? Anyway.
That's funny. What was the alternate from the Justice League movies? Oh, it was Owlman, the alternate Batman, the alternate universe Batman.
Maybe that was him.
Owlman. Maybe.
Owlman.
Yeah.
Owlman. Boy,
that was in one of those.
exciting.
It was in one of the cartoon movies. It was actually a pretty good movie.
But then it also made me think, Batman. That kind of seems weak. Like, you can imagine like Tiger Man or Bearcat Woman or something, but it's like Batman.
Better than Batman.
It's a bold choice. It ended up sticking, but it was.
Yeah. But then when you say Owlman, I'm like, okay, I guess Batman's a little better than that. Yeah, that's true. Anyway, so, well, tell you what, and those ships, the javelins, that was cool. I mean, for me, it just very clearly demonstrated what this show is going to be about, at least what I think was demonstrating it, which is at the beginning of every episode, John, Jean-Luc Martian Hunter is going to be like, okay, guys, we have a new mission going on. There's this thing happening here. And Batman, I'm going to put you in charge. And Batman's going to be like, okay, I'm going to need somebody that can hatch into the mainframe computer. Okay, you get and then they get a little group of 3 or 4 or 5 people. And the episode's about that. At least that's my guess. Kind of reminded me of Mask. If you remember the cartoon Mask, where at the beginning of every episode, they would say, okay, these are the agents that are going to be on this mission today. And it'd be like 3 or 4. And you'd be like rooting. You'd be like, oh, that's a pretty cool crew, And that's a great way to introduce characters or to get in depth into characters is to put them in a little group and see how they interact with each other and how they work together and save the day. Very cool. Although I don't know why they didn't just like call into headquarters when things didn't go according to plan. Like when Green Lantern got injured, they should call headquarters and be like, okay, we need like 3 or 4 more people. Things are going a little differently. Here's what's up. And then Jean-Luc burned off. Yeah. And then Jean-Luc would be like, all right, I'm going to send you, 4 more Hawk people.
We call them dispatch. My dad was a firefighter at the Dubuque Fire Department for 30 something years. And yeah, pretty much that character is dispatch. And you're like, all right, this is who we're going. And I feel like if somebody would have been like, man down, they would have got a hold of dispatch and been like, more people. But it's cool. Clothes were off, but it's okay. They came back in full force.
I do remember the show along these lines. That one thing which I like, which is different from say the '80s Super Friends, is there was often this tension among characters. Like characters would not always be 100% on board with things. Sometimes would go a little rogue. There'd be and I like it because it's a little bit more real, a little bit more what tends to happen with Marvel than with DC in general. So that was kind of cool.
Totally more depth.
Yeah. Some of them start dating and then break up and stuff.
Well, speaking of depth and dating, let's talk about Kelly Ann Park, everybody. I know. Finally, we could put Superman away and talk about Kelly Park. Kelly, what's new with you?
What's new with me? A few things. Well, one, sorry, ladies. No, I'm just kidding, gentlemen. I got my thing. I got a ring. So I conned somebody into
you didn't
monthly payments of just a fair few of 50 cents a month, and he would say that he is going to be my husband. So it's going to work at least for a little while, but we did set a date for May the 4th, 2024.
Beautiful. Star Wars Day for everybody. And it's on a Saturday, as you said, right?
Yes, it'll be on a Saturday if he doesn't change his mind and run for the hills. So there's that. And then I will say that there was an article that came out. And so I'm collabing right now with one of there's a producer of a production company called Dragon Whip Entertainment. It's a small production company that is trying to get their feet off the ground for having a production company in Dubuque, Iowa.
Oh, wow.
The idea is that why go to Los Angeles or New York when you can do it right in the Midwest?
Totally.
So
much cheaper.
So one of the biggest things is I have oh, the universe has been listening to my prayers, because I'm clearly not in a place where I'm going to be, packing up and moving to Los Angeles or New York City anytime soon. Like, I have a 1-year-old, like, I'm settling in, but at the same time, like, my heart and my passion does not stop. Like, I want to keep going with my craft. And so, there are social media things, but let's just go ahead and plant the seed and get it started. And basically, I mean, we're right next to the Field of Dreams. So the Field of Dreams is one of those, if anybody is watching, like, that knows a little bit about it, it's been a really big hit. Peacock TV picked it up. They did end up dropping it, but that's just one production company that they were going to do a series on Field of Dreams. They're building different, like, stages and fields out there. They brought their first World Series or Big League Series to Dyersville, Iowa, to the Field of Dreams to do what they did back in, whenever the Field of Dreams, early 90s. I should have known that. But yeah, and so Kevin Costner and a lot of people are just, it's such a cheap place to film, and it's such a great opportunity for people that I don't know why people don't do it more, especially since there's so much land. And why fly to Vancouver and try and get different visas and stuff like that when you literally can fly people and actors and producers and directors to the Midwest area, and then all of a sudden you get local hires that you'll hire for so much cheaper. And I can go on. Sorry, another podcast. I'm really excited to say that I'm talking to the guy who started Dragon Whip Entertainment. Again, it's very, very fresh off the ground, but he's been trying to get it in the works, and we are having coffee I think next week about it. And I'm really excited, and I really hope I get to tell you guys more about it, in the next coming whatever, where, my biggest thing about, I hope the industry that changes is that, 15 years ago, you had to go into an acting studio to audition. Now you do it on tape. What's the next step for our entertainment industry? Let's just do it. You don't have to be in a
absolutely. 100%.
And social media has already started the ball rolling, but it can get kind of iffy with, rights and all that stuff. And also, like, I don't know. It's not that I don't want to be a social media person. It's fact. I want to create, and I want to be on film and television, but I thought my dreams were dead until now. So sorry, it's a lot, but I just wanted to get that out there, that I'm hoping to put that, we'll get that ball rolling and let you guys know.
That would be amazing. And it's only about an hour or hour and a half west of the Chicago area. So it's not really out, like,
I think it's more than that, isn't it?
It's about, so Dubuque, where I'm from, the hometown, and that's where this production company is trying to build, because where I'm from is a small city. So it's not podunk town, but it's not, it's a small city. It's, I want to say 80,000 people, 80,000 people, but it's about 3.5 hours from Chicago, 3 hours from Chicago.
Ew, that's gross.
Yeah, it's a long ride.
Right next to Galena, right? Galena.
Yeah, right next to Galena. So Galena, and that's where all of Field of Dreams was filmed, and other things have been filmed there. As long as, it's just like, I just don't understand, like, why people don't do it, like producers don't do it to get the rights and to get costs and stuff. Like, why fly people to other countries when you can do it right in the Midwest? And I just, I don't know. I'm a little biased because, that the coolest thing about acting is that there's no age limit on when you can be done. Like, just because I didn't do it in my 20s doesn't mean my career is done. Or if I didn't do it in my 30s, or I didn't do it in my 40s. Like, it's really neat that a lot of people, like, I don't know, Morgan Freeman, what really took off in age 48 or something. And like,
that's right.
It's just, I don't know, when the universe is on your side or God's on your side, whichever one there's no stopping, as she would say. There's no stopping. So anyways, that's my soapbox. Thank you for joining my Kel Talk for a second. But
is Dyersville next to, what was it, Huntington Beach, or what was the one she said in the episode?
Daytona.
Is that near Daytona Beach?
Yeah.
Daytona's a little south. But we do.
Well, that's really cool. We cannot wait to be updated on this. This is going to be. I really hope that these kind of things sprout up everywhere, just like all over the country, all over the world, so that we're not just fully reliant on LA and New York, or possibly Chicago. Let everybody get some love. Let everybody work.
Well, and they're missing talent. Like there are so many talented people that because of their personal lives, like I probably will never move back to Los Angeles because I have my daughter, I have my parents, I have my family. Like I'm in a really good place right now. I'm in a really good place right now. So like it's just emotionally. And so I'd like to continue with that. But my heart hasn't stopped beating for what I've known since I was little. And so what can we do to whatever? And so then when this article came out in the local news, I was like,
Perfect.
oh. So then I slipped in the DMs. I'm like, let's have coffee. So anyway, stay tuned.
Stay tuned, everybody. Check that out. Can't wait for some updates there. But now it is time.
Before that, can you tell people where they can follow you online?
Oh, yes, you can follow me. My main one is Instagram so far is the Kelly _ANN_Park. And then like I said, I have the Kellyanne Park Facebook. It should be, I think, if you just look up Kellyanne Park, it should be there. They both social media, whatever, they collab together. So pretty much my Instagram's my jam. I'm trying to do the TikTok thing slowly, but I got a couple videos up there. I got like 50 followers. No big deal.
Your Instagram's a fun follow. I saw you just posted some pictures from your 2012 movie, Our Last Night.
Yes, that was my first thing I ever booked. And it just was very nostalgic. And sometimes I like to just check in with myself and be like, hey, like these are things that you did accomplish and let's just keep doing it. So
cool.
Flashback Friday.
All right, now it's definitely time for that there terrible twos. Muhammad likes to call them the terrible twos.
Bottom line.
So it's the final two questions of the show, the two most important questions with regards to superhero stuff. What was this? Justice League Unlimited. Here they come, fast and furious. Dr. Muhammad Noor, question number 1 is, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate this first episode of Justice League Unlimited?
So if it wasn't for the Supergirl aspects, which I was saying I didn't like, I actually would rate it very high. I would rate it maybe like a 9 or even above that, because I really enjoyed the pacing, and I like the variety of superheroes. I like the origin story. I like all of it. Because of that, I have to lower it a little bit. So I'm going to say 8.1 out of 10. It was just very enjoyable. And and I'm partial. I guess I'm the opposite of you on this one, Ryan. I actually grew up largely with DC. I'd see kind of Marvel on the fringe, but I really always enjoyed DC.
Mm-hmm. They were the OGs. What about you, Kellyanne Park extraordinaire?
So, truthfully, I was just incredibly impressed. Surprised, pleasantly surprised. I will say that Supergirl is a very, very uninviting character. It's you'll have to. They had to put it on somebody. And so, that's the conflict of the the dynamic of the show. So that's fine. And so I'll take it with that. So I'm going to honestly say, like, I'm going to do an 8.5.
Wow.
I really, really.
For everybody else, I'm sure people didn't say that you were going to be higher than me on that one.
No, I mean, it's just such a big surprise. But by the end of the half-hour or 25-minute episode, I went, wow, okay. So,
well, unless maybe I'm even higher than Muhammad and Kelly, that's certainly a possibility, right?
I'm not counting on that.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm actually going to give this an 8.2.
Oh,
surprisingly,
we're all very close.
Yeah, because overall, they gave us the concept I think we all wanted, even if we didn't know that we wanted it. And they gave us the nice amalgamation of an origin story plus a demonstration of what each episode is going to be, which is the perfect formula for a pilot. And they executed it very well, except for the details. There are a few details that we can obviously fix, but the bones of this show were very good. So 8.2 from me, good for them. However,
1.4, that's very good.
Yeah, this is possibly the closest we've ever been together and concentrated, right around averaging about 8.333, something like that. Somewhere in there. Mathematicians all have to check in on that for us. But even more importantly, question number 2 is that for the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of Justice League Unlimited. But now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet or the Midwest, Dr. Mohamed Noor, would you, of your own volition, watch the second episode?
Absolutely. Without a question. And I already have. I've seen it at some point in time. I don't know that I'll go back and see it again, but I would. I mean, I did it before.
All right.
I think it would be 82.6.
66666.
I think so. I think that's right. I'm trying to do it in my head though.
Let's see. 1.6, 2.6, 3.3. No, that doesn't work.
So I was thinking because you're averaging 1, 2, and 5. So I added those up to 8 and divided by 3.
Yeah, that does work. You're right. Yeah, that's it. Right, Kelly? Would you watch the second episode?
I would watch the second episode. I'm not going to go, how do you say it? I'm not going to turn off my podcast right now and be like, hold on, guys, hold on, plans. I'm going to watch this. But if someone was like, hey, can we watch another episode? I'd be like, yeah, I would. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to turn off this podcast to watch it, though. Check this out. No. All right. Yeah, I would. I would actually watch it because I'd be curious to see the other characters. I want to know all the other characters. I wasn't blown away by any of these characters, but they let us know, hey, there could be up to 30 others that you're going to enjoy. Who knows? I mean, maybe they'll just have 8 or 12 in the rotation. I don't know. Maybe they will do 30 or 40 and just keep recycling people, voice actors to do different, voices, like Transformers or whatever. But yeah, absolutely. That's 3 yeses and they deserve it. What a deal. What fun, everybody. So everybody make sure to go follow Kelly Park, of course, on her social media again, so we can stay updated on all this exciting news. And I think that's about it. Give this video a like. Make sure you subscribe, 5-star rating, please. And in the comments below, let us know what show you'd like us to review. That is a brand new show, not a new season, not newly on, Netflix, but actually a brand new show. And we will review it. Maybe. All right. That's it. So what I'm trying to say is this podcast was like 3 superheroes uniting.
This podcast was a DC love fest.
This podcast was pow pow fun.
All right, everybody. Remember what Mr. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg likes to say.
Don't forget to be an organ donor and don't forget to watch the first of things.
All right, everybody. Freeze frame like your least favorite character.
Shoot.
That shitty smile and breathe.